known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're watching this, we are happy to have you with us here on Puck Time on WagerTalk TV, and the conference finals are set as we have the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Edmonton Oilers and the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the New York Rangers. The Rangers get it done in convincing fashion yesterday. Scored 2 power play goals in the first period, and they did not look back. So hats off to the Rangers as they move on. And well, how many rounds of golf did the Tampa Bay Lightning play before this series? I mean, they seem like they had quite a few days off. Was curious to see if that benefits them or not. But today's game, of course, we are breaking down just one game a day now with the conference finals. It will be the Oilers and the Avalanche. Before I do that, before I jump into this, before I paint the picture for this series, I'll jump in. Carmine, how was your night last night, man? How are things going with you? And what's up?
Yeah, I know it was an enjoyable game last night just because I think at the end of the day, if you're a fan of hockey, Andrew and Buster, who I'll get to in a second, if you're a fan of hockey, I think this is pretty much the 4 teams that you would want to see just because of the stories behind them. We get to see McKinnon versus McDavid. And what everyone is thinking is going to be a high-scoring Western Conference. You get Colin McCarr and all the other great players of both teams have, and then you get to see the goaltending standoff between Vasilevsky and Shesterkin, and 2 teams that have played fantastic defense, and obviously New York being the biggest city with the biggest media. So against a team that is a 2-time defending champions, you can find different narratives that make it fit, but the Rangers did what they were supposed to do. They went in. They completely shut down Carolina. They gave them nothing. They gave them a lot of shots from the outside. Igor's stopping those all day long, all night long. And this team now is heading to the conference finals. It's funny, and I'm just going to mention it because we don't want to mention the comments every once in a while. But one guy was giving me a hard time. He's like, "Why do you guys always pick against the Rangers?" But listen, I did the preseason show on MSG Networks, and I stated on there that I thought the Rangers were a good bet to represent the Eastern Conference and the Stanley Cup Finals. And here they are in the Eastern Conference Finals. I picked them to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll see what happens because they've got a very good Tampa team in front of them, Andrew. This is a good series. The odds maker is a little disrespectful on this price. Tampa minus 175, minus 180 at some books. I think that's a little high considering the Rangers still have home ice in this one, but we'll see what happens. 2 7-game series for them. We'll see whether it takes its toll on them or not. But let's bring in Buster. What did you think of last night's game?
Yeah, very, very impressive display by the Rangers. You have to take your hat off to them because, truthfully, I thought it was going to be one of those, the old-fashioned home and home and home, and the Game 7 goes to the home team. But you know what? When you have, I've said on here before, I firmly believe coaching and goaltending is what wins Stanley Cups and defense. And the Rangers have a pretty good defensive club. They've been really good. Now they have home ice. It's, as Carmine, as you said, these are going to be 2 really, really good hockey series. And if you're a fan, everybody's watching this show, everybody in the comments, we're all massive fans of the NHL. We're going to get a treat in these next 2 weeks, that's for sure.
It's going to be unbelievable. And the cool thing is, and it's great to have you here, Buster. The cool thing is it's 2 types of series, like Carmine mentioned. I mean, it's one that we probably expect to be more low scoring. And then one series with Edmonton and Colorado that's going to be just as entertaining as you can get. Do not leave your seat during the game or you're going to miss a goal probably. It's one of those types of series which makes it so entertaining. But, I have to admit that I was wrong. I had Carolina winning the series. I definitely I had them in 6 actually with the clients, but I had them a future to win the cup at 14-1. So that one's in the loser bin. So it's been a great playoffs for me so far, 6-1 with my playoff series predictions. But, as far as the in-series wagers, the Rangers have definitely been my kryptonite, and I know it's going to sound weird to compare them like this, and you guys might give me some flack for this, but this is a 110-point team. Okay, they got a lot of points. This was a really good team. But I compared them on Twitter last night to my Canadians from last year in the playoffs. And forget what the Habs were like last year in the regular season.
Our Canadians?
Yeah, our Canadians, Buster, because they have a rock-solid goaltender, a decor that keeps, things to the outside, and they make good of their opportunities. And that's really what I found out the most about this. I mean, what happened in the first period? Too many men call on Carolina. Boom, the Rangers score. A high sticking penalty, I believe. I can't remember what the first one was. The Rangers score. So immediately to start that game, they're 2 for 2 on the power play. And Igor's making big saves, and it's just a team that takes advantage of their opportunities because, as you guys know, on this show, I go off the eye test quite a bit. I read a lot, but for me, hockey is not one of those sports where you hear me mentioning a lot of analytical stuff. Yesterday on the show, I mentioned a lot of analytics from Game 6, but yesterday's game proved that analytics do not matter because, sometimes it's about having a hot goaltender, making good of your opportunities, all these expected goal numbers and expected this, expected that. Doesn't matter if your goalie's making saves and you score at timely times. And that's really what the story was for the New York Rangers. So I really can't wait for the Eastern Conference Finals. It's going to be a great battle. And I know that this is a show to break down the Avalanche and the Oilers, but since I'm talking about it, I got to ask you two real quick. Do you guys, I'll start with you, Buster. Do you see any advantage to either team for having that much rest? I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning, a lot of people say they're chomping at the bits to bet on Tampa, but is there a such thing as too much rest for a team like that? Or is it a good thing for how rested they are, Buster?
Well, it should be a good thing in the playoffs, right? Because they're supposed to get all their guys healthy. They were a little bit beat up, but I'm hearing that Point still not going to play. So, but again, it's Cooper. They're a 2-time Stanley Cup champions. It doesn't matter. I think they handle any kind of adversity, if you want to call this adversity, because it's too much rest. Will they come out a little rusty? Maybe. Or really, we've seen it both ways in these playoffs, right? So when Colorado, when they swept right at first, they came out and when they played St. Louis, they dominated defensively against a very good offensive St. Louis club. So I mean, I believe that score was like 3-1. I know it was an under that first St. Louis Colorado game. So you could go either way here. Again, even with Tampa Bay traveling on the road, they're going to be the away team. They're still 175. Oh, yeah. Now I've bet Tampa Bay in both series, these last two, because I thought the numbers were fantastic. I want no part of 175. I'm not sure if I really want the Rangers, but I can see it would not shock me. And I know like you said, we're supposed to be talking about the other series, but remember, Rangers did beat them if I remember right. Might not be, but I'm pretty sure Rangers beat them all 3 games this year. I know that means nothing now at this time, but it's a little something. And I think Rangers will give them a game. I think they'll give them a series. Can they beat them? I'll tell you, and I mentioned this in the Toronto series in that Game 7, what Cooper said to his guys, and it looked like it's still stuck. I don't know. That Cooper's a great motivator. He told those guys, you haven't done nothing. You've only won 2 Stanley Cups. You've only won 2 Stanley Cups. You want to be a dynasty? You need 3. You need 4. You've won 2. So now they're in a perfect spot to get to that Stanley Cup Finals. So I will be betting this series game by game. And like you, Andrew, and I've said this on here a bunch of times this year and last year, that, I'm old school. I watch a ton of hockey. Everything's eye test for me. All these analytic and stuff. Well, again, I've been gambling and betting way too long. I got different systems in that. And I know eventually I might have to put some of this analytics in there. But come playoff time, no way. You proved that point last night with Carolina about that. So I'm good the way of the eye test myself. And again, just looking forward to a great series.
Yeah, unfortunately, I proved it in a wrong way because I had a bet on Carolina. So I learned a lesson, if anything. Carm, before we move on, I got to ask you the same question. I mean, is there such thing as too much rest, or is it a great thing for this Tampa Bay team?
No, it's probably a good thing. The first series they had against the Leafs was a grueling one, and then you get what really was a much easier one against the Florida Panthers, and the Florida Panthers just self-destructed themselves. They couldn't score on the power play, and they just were a shadow of their former selves. We've talked about it before. Teams, I think you have to go back to 2013. I think it was the Chicago Blackhawks, the last time a President's Trophy winner actually won a Stanley Cup. It just they had a great season. It didn't translate into the playoffs. They got eliminated, and they'll come back next year, and we'll see what they do. So this time off is what, eight days in between games for them. You probably help with a lot of those aches and pains. These guys are still practicing. I don't think if you see rust, I think within once they hit the ice in game one tomorrow, 5 minutes into that game, and these guys know they're in a thing. They've been here before, Andrew. Two consecutive years. I don't think this is a veteran squad. I don't think it's going to bug them at all. It's the Rangers who are riding the emotional high. And we talk about, I hate to use the phrase because it's such the team of destiny, but the Rangers are believing it. They're believing it right now. Listen, man, they were down, 3-1 to Pittsburgh, won 3 straight, down 2-0 to Carolina, and win, for the next 5 games. This, you may not want to use that moniker or that thing, team of destiny, but this team is winning games. It's all you can ask for them. And if they limit that space in front of the net and they keep shots to the outside, Shesterkin's going to stop them. It's going to be a real good goaltending battle. And when you look at, when we talk about goalies, 3 of the 4 goalies, if you go to Money Puck, it'll show you right there, 3 of the 4 goalies that are left in these conference finals are the top 3 goalies, or the 3 of the top 4 goalies as far as goals saved above expectancy. Shesterkin, 11.4 goals saved above expectancy, 11.0 for Vasilevsky. After that, it's Jake Ottinger. Then Mike Smith, 8.8 after that. So, we've got 3 of the, right now, best performing goalies in these conference finals. It's going to be a good one to watch. I'm looking forward to this series. I get it. Tampa's the favorite. They're 2-time defending champions, but sometimes, Andrew, that team of destiny just gets going. You guys saw it with your team last year, the Montreal Canadiens, that a wild ride with Carey Price in goal right to the Stanley Cup Finals before they faced this Tampa Bay team there. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow, but we've got a game to discuss tonight.
Carmine, I'm going to say something that you say sometimes to us. I got to do a note to self here and not ask one simple question anymore because I know I'm going to get 2 4-minute answers. We got a full series breakdown from series breakdown from both you guys.
We got time. Our chat is either listening or they're like yelling at each other. Whatever. Elliot's in there. He's dropped the gloves. He's ready to fight. Jeff's in there. It's all good. We love the guys, man. So it's good.
It's great. And it's good to hype things up. Tomorrow's show, of course, we'll break down that series and we'll continue to talk about these. So tonight, let's paint the picture, though. The Western Conference Finals begin tonight. We have the Edmonton Oilers, Colorado Avalanche here. And who would have thought the Edmonton Oilers would have finished their series off before the Colorado Avalanche do? Of course, we saw Edmonton win 4-1, the gentleman sweep, so to speak. Colorado, they win in 6 with just dying seconds remaining in regulation time to advance themselves to the Western Conference Finals. Minus 185 here, game 1, plus 155 here for the road team. And here we go. We have a 7 as a total in the playoffs here. A lot of people are expecting high-scoring games, and here we go with this one. Just a quick little stat check here with these teams. We do have Colorado leading the way between these two as far as the power play goes. However, their penalty kill has not been very good. Oilers well above them with the 85% to the 73% kill of the Colorado Avalanche. If you do care about the goals for percentage and that kind of stuff, it's actually 4.3 for Edmonton and 4.3 for Colorado. Last but not least, the goals against 3.08 for Edmonton and 2.7 for the Colorado Avalanche. So an interesting matchup here, guys. Look forward to hearing your thoughts. And there's so many storylines to get into. As far as the games we saw in the regular season, Carm, I know sometimes we say it doesn't matter, but I feel like it might matter when we look at how close it is. Let's look at how big of a favorite Colorado are here. I believe we saw an overtime, a shootout, and then a regulation win here for Edmonton. You know, we're seeing a big series price, big game one price here. What are your thoughts, game one, Carm, going on tonight?
You know, Andrew, you know, the funny thing is that everyone I talk to, whether it's some of the guys in our company or some of my friends or like even beat guys, writers and stuff, this is going to be an exciting, high-scoring series. No one, not a single person, has said that they think that this is going to be a low-scoring series, and I get it. Two high-scoring teams. You can't really look at the regular season because if you use regular season stats, I think a lot of the times you would say to yourself, "Well, Carolina dominated the Rangers. What happened in the playoffs?" I think you have to look at the playoffs in themselves, and the Oilers have played some very good D. It's surprising for a team that allowed 9 goals in their very first game against the Flames, but after that, their offense took over, and Smith did play well. This is why the guy is the number 4 goals expected or goals saved over expected number as well too. You can't discount those numbers while talking about guys like Vasilevsky and talking about guys like Shesterkin, who are number 1 and 2 at 11 and 11.4. With that said, I look at the 11 and it's juiced to the under, or sorry, the 7 and it's juiced to the under. It all comes down to discipline. And I hate to use parallels from yesterday's game, but Carolina took stupid penalties in the first period. The Rangers made them pay 5 straight first period power play goals. If you put the Colorado power play on the ice or you put the Edmonton power play on the ice in this series, they are going to burn you. And we're going to see goals scored in this series. But if this series is played, or at least this game is played 5-on-5, Andrew, do they get the 7 goals? And as much as I love the talent on these teams, McKinnon, McDavid, Landeskog, Draisaitl, I don't see it getting over 7. I don't see 8 goals coming, and that's probably why it's juiced to the under right now on the 7. We'll see. At the end of the day, it all comes down to will these teams take penalties? Will the referees be part of this game? I hope not. If it's a disciplined game and this is played 5-on-5 with fewer penalties, I'm going to lean under 7. I'm going to take the contrarian view. And it's not really contrarian when the juice on the 7 under is at -125, -130. They're basically telling you eight's a tough number to get to. We'll see what happens here, but I'm going to lean to the under here.
Well, and like I said, Carm, look at the PK percentages, just 73% on the penalty kill for Colorado to the 85% of the Edmonton Oilers. So, Buster, to Carm's point, liking the under, but there definitely is a factor here with the special teams and the talent that both these teams contain. What are your thoughts on the series, Buster, and game one here? Lots of talent on the ice in both clubs.
Yeah, Carmine mentioned a couple of good points there as far as what everybody's loving this series to go over, which, again, I think eye test. I mentioned there earlier that first Colorado-St. Louis was actually the first 2 games in Colorado. Both played under in that series. And St. Louis, I would say they're a pretty high-scoring team as well. Now, everybody in the chat, everybody that's going to watch this video, they already are big hockey fans. They are probably, for the most part, I'd say 90% are big. They already have an idea on who they like, who they want to bet in the series, in the game. So I'll just point out the good on each side, and then maybe you can go from there. Then I'll make a little choice of what I'm thinking. For Edmonton, there's no doubt. McDavid needs to play like he's been playing since Game 6 of that LA series. Edmonton fans must be just ecstatic to watch the talent that they have with him. And as I've said here before, he makes everybody else better. He makes Kane better. He might even make Mike Smith better. And that's my second point. Mike Smith, what expected goals, I don't follow all that stuff, but what Carmine was saying about that, if Smith is fourth, or he might need to get Shesterkin-like numbers for Edmonton to win this series. But he's capable. He's capable, but he's also capable of going the other way too. So that's going to be a big thing for this series, is the play of Smith. And Carmine mentioned it again. I hate to keep going off what Carmine said, but he's analyzing the game exactly like I will. They need to keep that power play. Edmonton's power play, if they play well, and their penalty kill might be even more important than their power play. Their penalty kill's at 85% in the playoffs. That might be the more important thing. If they do all those things, Edmonton could stay with what I believe, and you guys both talked about, teams of destiny. I sat here right from the get-go of the playoff start. Doesn't Colorado seem like the team of destiny to go to that Stanley Cup and probably win it? I don't know if they'll probably win it now, the way Tampa Bay and the Rangers are looking, because they'll both give them a play if it goes. But then, who knows? We saw what Edmonton did to a big favorite with Calgary, so it's the NHL, guys. You never know what can happen. But Colorado, the difference here, I think, is that Colorado they have the home ice, but they can also play defense. They showed that. And the other thing I like about Colorado here is a mental aspect of this. They had that series won against St. Louis. You can say, well, St. Louis came back and, won in overtime, but they had that one. Mentally, that has to be there thinking, okay, we got around this. They scored that, 3 or 4 seconds. They would have almost went to overtime again in Game 6. So those kind of things are in Colorado's mind. And I believe that's going to help Colorado maybe get over the hump here. And that defense might be enough. If McDavid plays the way he can, we're going to go with 7. If Colorado somehow can shut down and play defense and make it a Colorado game, I think Colorado will be able to win this series. As for tonight, I want no part of the total. I'll do the eye test thing, watch how everything goes, and judge accordingly. But I do like Colorado to win this first one in regulation. You're laying 150.
All right, Colorado regulation. Great stuff there from both of you, breaking down this series and this game. And I don't know if you guys were waiting for the fellow Nova Scotian to talk about this guy, but how about Nathan McKinnon? Can we show that guy some love too? I mean, a lot of Connor McDavid talk on this show, but game 5, Game 5, we see a hat trick from McKinnon. Game 6, he gets it done. Come on, boys. Come on. Show him some respect.
He might have seen the nicest goal I've ever saw in 40 years of hockey. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
They both.
It's going to be great.
Yeah,
both those guys.
It's a shame they couldn't hold on to that 4-3 lead with 90 seconds or 2 minutes left when he scored that absolute beauty. We'll see if we see any of those end-to-ends. We've seen it from McDavid, we've seen it from McKinnon in these playoffs, and now they face off with each other. Let's hope this lives up to the billing that everyone is talking about. What would be better than a couple of Game 7s in East and Western Conference Finals?
No better words spoken in sports than Game 7. As far as we talked about the star players, obviously we know those top guys. Just talking about depth for a second, I mean, can we even call Evander Kane a depth guy anymore? I don't think so. Look at the performance he's had right now. He could break records for the Oilers in the playoffs, believe it or not. I'm not even joking. He could break some records if they keep on going and scoring the way they are. And You look at Yamamoto and Puljujarvi, and those guys that are, Nugent Hopkins even has had a pretty good playoffs. Those guys playing alongside, Draisaitl and McDavid, those are key factors. I think that, ever since Woodcroft took over, I actually believe we've seen more secondary scoring than ever before with this Oilers team. And I think we'd be lying to ourselves if we didn't say that that's been a huge part of their success. We've talked, the three of us, on Tuesdays about how great Connor McDavid has been. And then in the playoffs, he takes his game to a whole new level, and people are still jaw-dropped. But I will say here on the show that he definitely has seen more help as far as just production from his other lines than he has in past playoffs and even just in the regular season. So, and take a look at Colorado with that, like Carm mentioned. I mean, the Chushkin, Landeskog, Kadri, Rantanen. There's so many guys. And the former Montreal Canadian, Arturi Lehkonen, he's on the first line tonight. I mean, a guy that's had a great playoffs as well. He won't score flashy goals for you, but he's a hardworking 200-foot player. And that's what you look for in the playoffs. And then you look at kind of the, defensemen like Nurse, like Bouchard. And then, of course, you can't forget about Cale Makar and Devon Toews, who I'll mention a little bit later in the show. Lots of, talent throughout the ice, not just with those top guys. So I wanted to mention it. But, Buster, you talked about Mike Smith, and Carm mentioned his numbers, too, that are much better than people might think. I was reading an article yesterday, and the old Forrest Gump saying, they said, life's like a box of chocolates, just like Mike Smith is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And, it was kind of true. But in the playoffs, he's done very well. He'll certainly be an X factor in this series. But, I'm kind of with you, Carm, as far as the under goes. If I was to make a play on this game and, for this show, I like that. And I think that the Battle of Alberta, as great of a series as it was, it's blinding people to what these next series are going to be like, both ways, really, but especially obviously the Western Conference Finals. Battle of Alberta was insane. But if you look at that St. Louis, Colorado series, it was just a defensive type series. Both teams played tight. The goaltenders played tight. But let's not sit here and act like if Colorado was in that same series against Calgary, they wouldn't be in a bunch of shootouts either. At least that's my opinion. So I give Edmonton more of a pass than a lot of people, actually, for the pond hockey they played. Because I think that anybody that played against Calgary last round would have been involved in some pond hockey. And I think it's kind of skewing people's opinions. So I actually am with you, Carm, on the under in this one. Here's what I'll say, guys. And I'll go to you, Carm. We'll go around the horn again before we wrap the show up. I think that with the odds we're getting at with this show, okay, or with this series, you can bet the plus 1.5 games for the Oilers if you think it goes at least 6. All right. See what happens. See what happens in game 7 if it goes there. But here's what I think. If the Colorado Avalanche win tonight, and they win in, let's say, relatively convincing fashion, we're going to be able to get a plus 2.5 series games on the Edmonton Oilers. And what's the old-fashioned saying? A series is not over until a team loses a home game. So plus 2.5 games for an Oilers team, to battle and, just keep things tight, for an Avalanche team that's been known to make a series pretty sweaty, I think it'd be a pretty good bet, despite what that price might be. What are your thoughts there on that, Carm? I've done it a couple times in the playoffs. I wanted to do it with, the LA Kings in that series against the Oilers, but they ended up winning the first game, so it kind of threw off my strategy there. But it's kind of what I'm thinking. I might not make a pre-flop wager on this series, but I might look at a wager within the series, whether it's after game 1 or game 2. What are your thoughts?
Wait, so let me just get this straight so I don't give you the wrong comment. So you're saying if the Avalanche win game 1, you come back and take Edmonton plus 2.5 games in the series? Did I understand that right?
Yes.
I just don't have enough data or understanding of. You're much better at those than I am. I like to make mine on not wagers within the series once it started. The only time I think I did it during these playoffs were with Edmonton in the first round of the series when they were down 3-2 to the Kings. I took them +1. I think it was +155 to win the series. I just thought they would go into LA, win that one, then come back home and win in 7, and that one worked. So I'm not really sure I would where I would lie on that one. I like, obviously I like the Avs in this series, but these are two very good. Again, I'm kind of sitting on the fence here. I have some futures that I've put out there for clients, but I'm sitting on the fence on how these are going to shake up after the first couple of games in Colorado and the first couple of games in New York. Edmonton's, you got to figure Edmonton's got to try and steal one of the two in Colorado. It's a tough. It's going to be tough. This is a very good Avs team. They're expected to win. They're the preseason favorites to win the cup, and they're the favorites now. It's just I don't know, Andrew. I wish I could give you a better answer. I'll pass it to Buster and see if he's got any thoughts on it.
Well, as you say that, Carmine, I don't think I'm going to be able to give a much better answer either. I'm a kind of guy that bets the series right from the beginning. If I'm going to bet a series, I bet it from the beginning, and then I don't like to try to add to it. I understand, Andrew. I guess here's a better thing, Andrew. If you think it's going to be that way, would you bet? Which I don't know. Actually, this is just a crazy question to even ask. Would you bet Colorado -1.5, and then say Colorado does win tonight? Do you turn around and bet Edmonton +2.5 and hope it lands on 6? And then I don't know. I just don't bet that way, right? I just don't bet that way. I'm just old school. But I understand. The younger generation bets all these props. Does all this stuff that I don't do, that I've got actually people looking into to help me to do this stuff for the future. Because that's obviously, I see guys are making some pretty good money betting these prop bets, and even in baseball and stuff, like guys to get certain hits and total bases and stuff. So that'll be part of my game moving forward the next couple of years. But right now, I just don't bet that way. I'm going to bet the series in both series and stick to my guns, I guess.
Well, I mean, this isn't really as much like a player prop and that kind of stuff as it is almost like in-game betting. A lot of us bet in-game.
Right.
It's more so just in series betting. So both you and Carm, very consistently stress how important it is to manage your bankroll and not bet these high prices, right? So for me, I'm just waiting until it goes. I can't bet +2.5 games now. The price is nuts on that. But if I'm sitting here saying, well, Colorado, great team, they're at home, game 1. If they win the game 1, all of a sudden that +2.5 games price isn't too nuts anymore. So I'm just kind of patiently trying to wait to get a better price is really what I'm trying to do. And if Edmonton wins game 1, I'm screwed. My plan is out the window, and it's a little bit different. But I'm looking forward to
You know what,
the
Andrew?
game.
I'll just say one more thing, Andrew. I would probably, if I'm looking at it like you will, I would actually really watch this game and see how it shakes out, because a lot of times the final score isn't really what happens in the game, correct?
Yeah.
So I might be, if I'm you looking at this, even if Colorado wins, how did they win? How did it go? Right? What did they do? What did they do well? What they did not do well? Because remember, these coaches now, it's been 2 series, so they've all, they have 8, 9 games, 10 games, whatever it may be, of tape of how these teams have been playing different in the playoffs. Because as we all know, well, at least I know, an NHL playoff hockey is way different. So to take the tape from NHL regular season, the 3 games that these guys played in the regular season, to go now, those guys are looking at the tape against Calgary, or Edmonton's looking at the tape against St. Louis and Nashville. That's the tape they're looking at. So that's the way I would maybe look at to see how, if Colorado does win tonight, how did they win before I make that 2.5 game bet.
That's a great call, and it's really important to do that. The scoreboard does not always dictate, what actually happened in the game. All right, that's it for today's show. Lots of information, lots of stuff recapping yesterday, talking about the next series in the East, and of course today's game in the West. Carm, let's start with you. I know you've got a best bet for us. Also, lots going on. You had a great stoppage time show. I hope everybody watches that as well. I believe it was you, Kevin, and Nick on that show. Well, tell us about that show, Carm, and then now we'll get more from you about promos and best bet.
Yeah, Nations League, another competition while we wait for the World Cup to start. It kicks off on Thursday, so a lot of games over the next couple of weeks, and should be some really good ones. A lot of really good footballing nations in Europe playing in that one, so I look forward to that. I'm surprised nobody mentioned it. I'm going to say it. Come on, man. Plus 300 on Vincent Trocheck to score as yesterday's best bet on the show.
This is your chance. This is your chance.
And everyone chirps. Everyone chirps about the losers, but no one chirps about the winner. Plus 300, Vincent Trocheck. I cashed that ticket yesterday. As you guys know, I showed you the ticket for it in our company group there. And I'm going to go with another one tonight. First of all, a couple plays. One playing up in NHL along with 3 prop bets. You can get that over at WagerTalk. And the rest of the NHL season, right through the Stanley Cup Finals, you can get it for like $99 for any one of your WagerTalk Puck Time cappers, and over at Sports Memo as well too for Buster. I'm going to go right back to scoring tonight, even though I like the under in tonight's game. It'll probably be 4-3 at the end of the first period. I'm going with Zach Hyman, plus 210, boys, to score tonight. It's not plus 300 like yesterday, but plus 210, Zach Hyman to score as your show best bet. Let's see if we can make it 2 big priced scoring props in a row.
He's feeling it. Look at the smile on his face, Buster. He's feeling it. He's pumped up. Big winner, plus 300 yesterday. Trocheck was a great pick there, and lots of value on that one. Hyman, I like that one too. Good luck, Carm, with that one. Buster, I know I have a feeling that we're going to get some type of first period play from you. What do you have going on over at Sports Memo? And actually, before we get to that, CFL, man, around the corner. 2 weeks away. We're both going to be doing it. I believe we have some packages going up today. Tell us about that, and then let's get some more from you, and then a best bet.
Yeah, it's very, for me, I don't like to even talk about the CFL and brag about it, because for the last 15 years, I've been just like dominating CFL. That's all I can say. I've been with the WagerTalk and Sports Memo family for 6 years. First at WagerTalk and now at Sports Memo. And here's my record. I'm plus 181.17 units in that 6-year span. I'm hitting 62%, 125, 76, and 3 in CFL. Talk about 5% releases, which are our top releases at Sports Memo is a 5% release. We're 83.9% lifetime in CFL, 5% releases at Sports Memo and WagerTalk. That's over 6 years, 26, 5-2. We were a perfect 6-0 last year. Go over and get that package. And you know what, guys? Me saying all this now, everybody was a regression. I actually had people buy the package last year saying, yeah, Buster, you can't keep this shit up. There's no way. I'm going to fade you the whole year. Well, unfortunately, that guy didn't make out too well. So just one of those things. Maybe you have more time, whatever. But go grab that package. Tonight, talking about 5% releases, I have an NHL playoff series release up there. I know we only have 2 series going now. Have that over at Sports Memo. It's only our second one in either NBA or NHL. Won our first one, and looking forward to winning this one. So head over to Sports Memo and get all that good stuff. Oh, by the way, I should mention, Sam Burns, 30-1. Yes, another outright golf winner. So it's nice to win, and I come on here and say when I lose. I've many a times said, 1-4 Monday, stuff like that. But it's nice to talk when you're winning. And congrats, Carm, on your little win there too. So, anyways, to get to my show play now. Well, you know what? I think I only have one more show, so I might as well talk a little bit more.
Hold on, Buster, hold on.
Okay.
Carm, what was your win again? Wasn't it like 25 or 15-1? What was it? 12-1? Did you just call it a little win?
Well, 18-1 and 33-1. But I was just checking my phone messages, and I don't seem to see a text message from Buster on this another golf winner. This guy is saving the money for himself. Share it with the people up north, man. Come on.
Hey, I told you guys, just drop me a DM. I'm busy. I'm looking at the Gulf of Mexico. There's a beach here. It's my last day. So, I'll drop you the plays tonight. No problem.
Buster,
sorry, guys. Anyways.
Buster, I didn't even know.
Yeah,
that,
I gave Andrew one.
I didn't even know Real
gave Andrew
Madrid
my first
was Carm's future bet until I saw all his clients congratulating him. So I guess I should have purchased his soccer package this year, man. So we all
and you see him every day. I never got full disclosure. I never got that 18-1 play either. So but
I'm playing the world's smallest violin for you guys right now. The world's smallest violin.
Let's go.
Best bet. Like I say, be only maybe one more show for me next week, and that'll be it. So, anyways, got to go back to the first period. Going to take first period puck line, Colorado -0.5 plus 135. I think they come out and have to prove that they're the better team, and they're at home. I like that play. You don't want to lay what I think it was 160 or 150 for the first period. So we're going to take a little shot with Colorado to come out here. And best of luck to everybody with their series plays out there. Best of luck to everybody in the chat watching this, and really looking forward to these two series. It's going to be fantastic.
Big shoes to fill, these two guys. Buster dominating CFL, hitting golf winners. Carm hitting a 33-1, 18-1. Hey, I'm just trying to keep up with these two guys, but great to be on a show with these two always. Tuesdays are always
I think
fun.
You're doing really well, Andrew. Don't worry about that.
I appreciate it, Buster. For me, guys, I have a 5% UFC pick. That's probably the earliest I've released one, really. I released it last night. That goes Saturday. So grab that full analysis. I'm really looking forward to this one. I've had this one kind of planned out for a few weeks now. So a 5% UFC play going on Saturday. And for me, for tonight, just a prop package for this game tonight, and one MLB play so far. And when I take a look at today's game, and when I've looked at the prop plays, here's one I do like. Devon Toews to get a point. He's a guy that's been cashing tickets for me all playoff long. He's a defenseman. He plays alongside Cale Makar, and people don't expect defensemen to get points or to get assists or to score goals. When you're a team like Colorado, you have defensemen constantly jumping into the rush, joining the forwards. Those guys get rewarded, and those guys get points. -130, that's a great price. Devon Toews to record a point tonight for the Colorado Avalanche. And to recap, I have Devon Toews again to record a point, -130. Carmine, Zach Hyman to score a goal, +210. Don Buster, Colorado, first period, -0.5 goal, +135. I want to thank all of you for joining us here. Lots of fun today on the show, despite it being a 43-minute long show to discuss one game. But hey, it is what it is, and we'll be done with the NHL season in probably just a few weeks. So on behalf of Carmine, Buster, I'm Andrew, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.